Welcome to Footy Kickin Good. I'm Jamie Moraes. On the couch today, we've got Travis D'Souza, Wayne Perera. Thank you, boys, for coming down.
Thanks, Jamie, for having us.
No worries, guys.
Unpopular demand. I'm not sure there was demand, but we're back.
Nah, there's definitely demand for you boys, and I know you boys love your Supercoach. So tell me, how you boys doing this year in the Supercoach?
It's a painful point. It's a bad
The worst part is because all we do is talk about Supercoach with each other. We have very similar teams.
Yeah.
So if one of us is doing bad, both of us are doing bad.
And we're both doing bad.
Who do you think's been the bright light in Supercoach this year? Like,
As in our teams or in general?
in general, yeah.
I think in this year,
Someone we don't have.
someone we don't have. I reckon like a George Hewitt was like leading the midfield brigade because obviously no Butters and Bont. Even someone like a Ryan Marich, which is like a season-defining player. If you picked up Marich, you're laughing.
Yeah.
Gorn right now is just...
Yeah.
just how long do you have really?
Hey, we debated picking Gorn so much pre-season. We're like, nice, 34, he can't do it again.
Yeah,
and he gets to 750k in Supercoach, which is like unattainable.
It's been a big debate on the podcast about who's going to be the All-Australian ruck, whether it's Zeri or Gorn.
Yeah.
You guys leaning any way on that?
Could you do two?
I mean, you could, but it's pretty rare in recent years. Yeah,
I think I'll give it to Gorn just right now.
Yeah,
but the thing with Gorn is you just got to expect you have to expect some rest or breakdown later in the year. He's that old.
Yeah, you do one.
But right now you have to pick two. I'd go Gorn.
Yeah, you're the same way.
I think Zeri right now. Maybe I'm a bit like guided by Supercoach stats, but Zeri for the last 3 or 4 weeks is also on fire.
Yeah, he's been dominant.
He's been pretty dominant, as has Gorn, in fairness. So I flip of the coin, but probably Gorn. But I like the idea of someone new taking the mantle. So.
And is there anyone on your never pick again Supercoach list now?
Lockie Neal.
Lockie Neal.
Lockie Neal, yeah. Just can't shake a tag. Like gets a tag and just like says, I can't be bothered.
It's funny you say that. I bought him in about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. But that's not as bad because like you would have dropped in price. Like we paid $6.50 for
yeah,
the
okay, that's fair.
Drops to 40.
I mean, Nick Dacos is one I was like, has to be a lock.
Yeah. I've traded Zorko for Dacos and it's just one of those seasons for me.
Honestly, I'm not too sure I've ever seen a player in at least a half a season that we've seen so far that's had more attention than Nick Dacos.
Yeah,
he's getting tagged like the amount, but the fact that he's still putting up really good numbers.
That's the thing.
Maybe not great Supercoach scores, but good numbers, good influence.
I think the key is the numbers are high, but because there's someone always on him, he's not getting maybe the effective disposal or the long kick. It's a lot of handballs because someone's hanging on to him. Yeah. Actually, Craig McRae said yesterday they've put in a lot of work to try and like help him out when he's getting tagged, which is insane that there's so much planning goes.
Collingwood's the best at that. Like they've just got some kind of team chemistry there where they're just all for one for all kind of thing.
Pretty phenomenal.
Yeah. No, that's great. Well, look, I want to spend some time and I want to go through your respective teams because you guys are kind of the experts. You know, you watch your teams really diligently. We're going to start over on the Essendon side with you, Travis. But before that, like when we came in and we did our season previews for Essendon, you were pretty, I don't know what the word is for it, but you weren't all that optimistic. Yeah. You weren't very optimistic on Essendon's chances coming in. Up until probably last night against the Doggies, I reckon like most Essendon supporters might have been, a little bit bullish on what could possibly happen.
Agree. Right, this is what kills me with Essendon every year. Like this year, I started off negative. With me and Jeremy sat on this couch. We were pessimistic, just so we wouldn't get our hopes up to be let down. Yeah. And the thing is, I always knew we were beating like West Coast and North but still, we were like 1 game out of the 8 playing one less game. Like obviously, I'm going to have a little bit of hope. So I go into the game thinking, like, we're not going to win, but at least like we're in a spot where like we've ticked the boxes we could have. Yeah. We're not going to beat the Bulldogs, but dear God, like that performance, we were like 3 points. And like no one cares. But what really really annoys me is like Brad Scott not picking Sartzis. He's in the VFL like dominating. And then subbing El Hawley when he wasn't even the worst player on the ground. Like at least look to we're getting smashed. Why just not play our young guys who come in? Like don't demoralize a guy who's like, I reckon unfairly been subbed before to start games. You start him a game, then you sub him out. It just makes no sense. And you bring in Dylan Shield, who I sat here on this. I know he had a couple of good games in the midfield, but he was one I brought up pre-season. Like, what is Dylan Shield still doing there? And he comes on and just butchers the ball anyway.
Yeah, you're not a fan of Dylan Shield. You've made that very clear. Yeah. I agree with you. I feel like Brad Scott's always been that guy who leans towards the older guys. Like he likes these experienced guys over the kids.
Agree.
And you saw it last year. It took him till very late in the season to play a young guy, and I think it was Caddy first up, and then Archie Roberts, and
exactly. Now look how good Roberts is going this season now. He's been a shining light down back.
Yeah, he had great numbers yesterday as well. look, I want to ask you because it's sort of like, as an Essendon supporter, I feel like Essendon throughout the years has gone through a lot of like little mini resets or mini rebuilds. Mm-hmm. Do you think this is a club that needs to go through a major rebuild?
100%.
Yeah?
Actually, one of my friends, Jeremy, who sits on the couch too, he was actually disappointed when we were winning those games. He's like, we need every piece of media attention and heat on Brad Scott. Yeah. We need to just delete this whole club and start again. We need a full rebuild from scratch.
Is it a Brad Scott issue though?
I don't think so. That's one where I don't really agree with Jeremy because we've cycled through the coaches.
Yeah.
No one is doing anything. I honestly think it's just a cultural problem. I said it in the start. Like, something is wrong at Essendon where we're not developing players. Players are coming into a high draft picks like Sartzis who are just not kicking on. There's so many high draft picks we've had just haven't kicked on. And I guarantee you, if like Sartzis or some of those picks were at like a Geelong or any other club, mostly Geelong, I don't know how they do it, but they would be excelling.
Yeah. I feel like the boat's almost sailed with Sardis. I think I think
he's gone.
He's been in the system so long now that if you can't cement your spot by now, you're probably falling behind in that developmental.
I agree, but is it his?
area?
Do you reckon obviously there's some onus on him. Maybe he wasn't the best user of the ball.
Yeah.
But the numbers you're putting up, you just got to give him a clean run at it.
Yeah. I don't think he got his chance basically.
Yeah, exactly.
He got unluckily injured, didn't he? For
a bit as well. Yeah.
But what you also tend to find is these coaches come in and it's sort of like they're more coaching for their own job than the future of the club.
Agree.
And I feel that is the case in this situation as well with Brad Scott. Like he's just trying to push this team. And Ross Lyon's a very similar coach, but you know, it's probably a similar position, I think, St Kilda. But I think they've done really well in draft. They've taken the first rounder every year.
Exactly. And I think I'd rather be in a St Kilda position right now than an Essendon position going forward. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think a full rebuild, like cull it, pull it right back, is the answer though? Like
what
we've seen West Coast and
I agree. But something like maybe I'm looking like with like rosy glasses at like a Richmond who I think have more potential now going into the next few years than someone like Essendon. Like Essendon's youngsters, just like besides Caddy, even Kako is playing the hardest position in the game. Don't get me wrong, but I thought there'd be just a little bit more excitement, like when he goes around the ball.
The big little spark.
Doesn't have the spark. Sometimes I'm seeing him like I know he's quick, but I still see people get past him. Like Blakey ran at random with the ball a few times, like just a little bit more excitement. But I'm not gonna. The hardest position. I'm not gonna diss a 19 or like he's not a problem at all. I just think it's like I think it's a generational thing. It's the last like 10 years, Essendon's gone nowhere.
If you had to cull a couple of players off the list, Dylan Shields top of the list. Anybody who else you got? Because I'm wondering if guys like Laverde.
Look, Laverde's like a role player. He's obviously not good, but like.
Does he take out like a younger guy from possibly playing and flooding him?
But we had so many injuries now. Really, like I think Laverde, they weren't picking him, even though he was doing well in the field. They weren't picking him, playing the young guys. But because Ridley went down, and then Hayes came in before him, which was good to see.
Yeah.
Again, Hayes was a bit of a shine. Like he was playing real well before he got injured in his first game.
A lot of season-ending injuries probably mean a couple of picks at the mid-season draft as well.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, and to be fair, we lost Draper, we lost Brian. It has been a tough year injury-wise.
Yeah.
But I just don't think yesterday's performance, like as bad as we like as many injuries as we've had, like there's just no effort. Like there was just so many broken tackles I saw in that first half, and they just get away.
It's tough to say. Was it Essendon playing poorly or the Bulldogs just playing?
I honestly think Bulldogs will be a big contender this year. Yeah. I think they're really clicking, and they've got a lot of injuries, but they're still every game they've played and they've been up there. So I think they will be good.
I've said for a few years now, it's almost like you got to look like a top 4 side to even make the 8 now.
I do remember that.
And I feel like it's almost starting to become a really big gap between the 8 and the other teams.
Yeah, I agree.
But the funny thing is I mean, Essendon's still technically a game out of the 8.
That's the part that's the game. And we're playing Richmond next week. And a game in the balance playing Richmond next week.
Playing Richmond next week, and I think if Fremantle and GWS both lose, you'd be in the 8.
Yeah, if Geelong had beaten GWS last week, we would have been in the 8.
Yeah.
Which is insane. And that's what kills me. It's the hope. It's the hope. Like
just the tease.
Just the tease, exactly right.
No, well, it'll be interesting. What's your prediction, I guess, for Essendon for the rest of the year? Like, where do you think you guys might finish up?
I think we will finish bottom 4 potentially.
You think you'll drop all the way down?
Could drop all the way down.
Yep.
I really hope not. Like, I think if we finish 10th to 12th, I'll be like, good enough.
Yeah.
But if we blood the young guys and I have a bit of hope going forward, that's the key. I think it's just that little bit of like, we're not winning, but we're working towards something. Sometimes I think, what are we actually working towards? When we're playing Dylan Shield in the middle, we're subbing Hall Hawley, and we're not picking Sartzis. Then I'm thinking, what are we actually doing?
Yeah, and you kind of wonder after like a huge loss like that, it's sort of like, what's the mentality like?
Exactly.
Are they going to crumble now?
Yep.
We know in recent years, Essendon have really finished the season poorly as well.
Yes, exactly right.
So you've got that over your heads as well. But it'll be interesting to see how they go.
Yeah.
Hopefully you see more kids for your sake, at least, your sanity.
Spot on, and my hope.
Wayne, let's move on to your mob, the Cats. Always purring, always in the mix.
It's been a funny season.
Yeah, you've seen a lot of, premiership sides go all the way or even making grand finals.
Yep.
Do you see it in this list currently and the way they're playing?
Yeah, look, there's so many variables with Geelong. Like injuries are starting to come to fruition a little bit. We got Danger out probably for about 4 or 5. They might take him.
How crazy was that at Geelong Port game with the amount of hamstrings injuries?
Weird. Yeah. And I was texting him actually, and it was 4 hamstrings I think in the first quarter.
Yeah.
It was a bit slippery, but something I haven't really seen before. And then Sim got injured with a hip issue as well. It was just one of those really bizarre games, early subs, and then people were down to 3 on a bench. So but yeah, look, I think we're a weird team because I think on our day we're really good like most other teams, but we've got like a vulnerable midfield. Even though 2 of them are still putting up good numbers, I think that's where we're really lacking still, and I think that's always my concern. Bailey Smith's been huge.
Would you say he's the recruit of the year?
I'm biased.
Yeah, I honestly think he is. Like, who were the other ones that would? Like,
look,
maybe Kennedy?
I'd say Matt Kennedy's up there.
Kennedy,
low cost. Pick up. I'd say so. He'd be up there at least.
I think so.
But yeah, look, I think we're doing okay. Like a couple of strange losses in there, like the St Kilda game.
Yeah,
like we were
a bit of a bogey team for the Cats.
Weird.
Yeah,
There's a few out there. Like Carlton and GWS. Like if you watch Geelong games, like they're always annoyingly around there. They always just annoyingly win.
You could have beaten GWS. I think Blitzards kicks that. Yeah, I think you win that.
There was about 4 or 5. Like Daniel went for a pass. We probably could have gone for goal. And but look, I can't really complain. Like a game out of the 4, I think, and a couple of games at home sort of come. So I think we'll be thereabouts.
If you look at the fixture and you see their losses, they're kind of like really. They look like they're inconsistent on paper, I guess, but then you watch them and like they go down to Adelaide and they just like get the job done, and you're like, that's why like they're such a quality side, and on any given day they can beat you really.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Like I reckon there's never a Geelong game where you're going to go in and think we're going to lose. Like there's so many teams that Essendon play against where I can think Geelong being one of them. Where I can think, I'm going to go, and Essendon there's just no chance they're going to win.
There's not a lot of games you go to where you get pumped as well.
Exactly.
I don't even know how many times you've been pumped probably in the last 10 years.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's been a good run. I don't want to
jinx it.
But there's teams out there that seem to have our measure as well.
So.
Who do you think, as a Geelong supporter, who do you think's your biggest rival in the competition? Like if you had to pick one,
as in like rivalry, as in
like as in the team, like you always just want to beat. Hawthorn, is it? I wanted to double check if it was a mutual thing.
Oh, it's absolutely.
Because you guys have the chocolates over us so often that I'm kind of like, do you guys get up as much for it as we do?
Oh, absolutely.
Because we really want to beat you.
Yeah.
But I don't know, because you guys just seem to do it so easily. Well, not easily, but you seem to do it very often.
Between 13 and 18.
Yeah, but then like 08 to 13. I mean, we didn't get a win, and then a good period now. I guess we've gotten just a few here and there.
Yeah, no. I think our games are always close. Yeah. Even like when you guys were going through a bit of a rebuild, there was a few bad kind of or bigger margins, but most of them were still pretty much
competitive.
Goals, if that. So yeah, definitely, I'd say Hawthorn at the moment.
Yeah. Well, speaking about Hawthorn, let's I'll get into my mob because the other boys, I don't think they like bringing up Hawthorn all that much.
Yeah.
All the success in the past and everything, and they think Hawthorn supporters are a bit arrogant, though they won't say it to my face, even though I'm very humble.
Yeah.
But my mob, look, it's an interesting period. I think the one saving grace for me is I feel like we're not playing our best footy yet.
100%, yeah.
And I feel like that's more of a good thing, whereas we saw like Sydney last year playing their best footy
early,
really early, and then petering out a bit towards the end.
Yeah.
Our problem last year was that we really couldn't get on top 4 sides.
Yeah.
Like we could beat everybody else, but not those top 4 sides.
Yeah.
So we'd have lost to the Suns on Thursday night, which is a little bit devastating.
Do you think,
but
though, that was just a pure Darwin factor and you're resting players?
It was, but
I don't think you're losing to them at the MCG.
Yeah, I somewhat agree with you there, but also I know like the team itself got itself really ready for this, went up early. And
Yeah.
I think they really hyped themselves up because it was I think we had a bad loss to the Suns last year, and that was kind of one of the spurring moments that kind of shaped the season, and players only meeting and that kind of thing on the back of that. But yeah, so our upcoming lineup is the Lions, the Pies, the Doggies, and the Crows.
The big four.
So it's a big kind of matchup now.
where you're at.
We've got a good record against the Lions last couple of years.
Yeah, right.
Pretty lucky not to be playing them at the Gabba for like the last 6 or 7. It's been a long time since the Hawks have been up to the Gabba. They go up to the Gabba, I think, in the last round.
Okay.
So that's not great heading into finals when
Yeah,
you got a
yeah.
big...
It could show you where you're really at.
Yeah. True.
And you get a week off, so it could be that perfect lead into finals.
Yeah,
where you
exactly.
Go hard
And the Pies, all Pies, Bulldogs, and the Crows, we actually have decent records
That's pretty
against.
good,
So
yeah.
it'd be, this is going to be a very telling period, I guess, for the Hawks. Hawks and Pies, I'm really
That'll be a
excited
big game.
for because I just want to see,
Quality game.
what the MCG is going to be like.
What Guinea's going to do.
Yeah,
That'll be good.
where the
You wanna
headlines
win.
are,
Yeah.
but no, it's going to be a cracking. I think there's been a lot of injuries as well with the side. It's no stability. I think we've got a lot of tools down back, bringing in Battle
Can I
and
just
Barras.
ask you, speaking of the back line, where do you stand on the James Sicily criticism? Do you think his kicking's that poor? Is he playing that badly?
You know what? If you asked me before the season started, I would say he's one of the best kicks in the comp.
I do remember you told me that, yeah.
I still agree with that.
Yeah.
But he's got a mistake or two in him.
Yeah.
But he's been out of form for a few games.
Yeah.
But I really feel like the last 2 weeks he sort of brought that form back.
Yeah, okay.
But he was, I don't know, he just had a real poor pass. But it was not just the kicking; it was just dropping uncontested marks.
Yeah, he was a bit off. Yeah,
he's normally like glue fingers. You know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah.
down back.
But I'm not a massive fan of. I prefer him. Like he's an All Australian backman.
Yeah.
I say keep him in the backman, and I think that's what Sam Mitchell has
trying
wanted to do.
Yeah.
And it's the whole moving him forward. Fourth quarter, he was spectacular last year, but it's sort of like trying to get lightning to strike twice.
It's not easy to do
Not
that.
easy.
Yeah.
No, to go forward is much harder to play than defense. I think. Yeah.
And the forward line's a bit. How do I put this?
Haven't you?
Yeah, no, it's not even that. Like Jack Gunston's our best forward, basically.
Yeah, which is
And,
crazy.
You know,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
34, 35, something like
He's
that.
always been underrated. Though,
Yeah,
Gunston.
he has, yeah.
Genuine gun player.
He had to play with Buddy and
Ruffy.
and he
Yeah.
just got to be the third string, which
Still
is,
kicks
I mean,
50
beautiful.
goals.
Yeah,
Unbelievable,
probably for me a bit stiff not to get that 2013 Norm Smith over Brian Lake.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think he kicked 4 or 5 that day.
It's tough. Yeah.
But yeah, just for him to be the key forward is sort of just like you
need something else, yeah.
Cal Shadier's obviously had a back injury. He's just come back in. Probably a tough game.
Marbiol the answer.
Marbiol's one of those guys where it's just like he's actually like he kicked the most goals for Hawthorn last year.
Yeah.
He was the leading goal kicker for
40
Hawthorn,
goals
which
for
is like how, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Is he like a Carl Langford type where you're just thinking like
you know what it is? It's like, you talk about players you want kicking for your life.
yeah.
In front, like, 30 to 40 out, he does not miss.
He's a miss.
He's
Yeah.
a pretty good
But
kick.
you put him on any angle, and you're kind of like, I don't know.
Fair enough.
It's one of those things where you have those really high intense contests where it's like, one mistake kind of lets the team down.
Yeah.
He's got that
He's
in
got
him.
that,
Yeah. So he becomes a bit of a whipping boy
Yeah.
for the Hawks in that sense.
Yep.
He's a really good asset to have, I guess,
Yeah,
as a
yeah,
ruck.
yeah.
Yeah, because he can play that ruck role as well, up
agree,
the ground,
agree.
and he does have those moments where he does something spectacular.
Yeah.
Sort
What
of
about the
kick up.
recruits, Barras and
That's
Battle?
what I've always wondered.
What are your thoughts? Like,
on how they've
who's
integrated?
been better and have they,
Has it worked?
Has it worked exactly?
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily worked. You can kind of see the intercept game,
Yep.
which is really nice. But then you've also got Scrimshaw, who's been spectacular in his own
Riddle.
right. Yeah. But Battles, I mean, he's put up some great numbers as well.
Yeah.
He's had a couple of 30+ games.
Yeah.
I've never really watched Battle as closely as I obviously have this year. He's not the most reliable kick, I would say, as well. But then you've also got you guys like James Sicily and
in the back line,
Coe in the back line, Scrimshaw.
Yeah.
It just feels too tall for me.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
feel like it's still a small forwards game.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially with the forward lines. And you look at a team like Collingwood and they really thrive on that difference with their, Elliott and Hill. And I wonder how that's going to match up, which we'll probably see in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're not playing our best footy. Whether we can play our best footy and get that in the business end of the season is probably what you're waiting for to
That's
see.
when you time it right anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's when you peak.
It's exactly what you want. All right. So moving on, guys. I've got a little, I don't know if I'll call it a game for you guys, but I'm going to give you a scenario and it's called Who Would You Rather Be?
Yeah.
All right, and I don't know if I'm going to phrase these right for who would you rather be, but
Yeah.
we'll give it a go. All right. So the first one, for the next 10 years, would you rather be Nick Dacos or Sam Darcy?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I think I'll go Dacos because I just think there will be a couple of Brownlows in there.
Oh, okay.
Only because he's a key position player, Sam Darcy, but I think I'd go Dacos.
I think Darcy can be anything. I agree. Dacos is unbelievable and he's young and he's just doing things that not many people have ever done. But he just looks unbelievable as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really go wrong. No real.
Can't go right. That's what I mean. It's a flip of the coin again.
For me,
Darcy.
I honestly watched Darcy in the first stretch of this game off the year before he got injured, and I just felt like he's just got a bit of Buddy Franklin to him.
Yeah,
like you can just kick it down there and he can just mark anything.
Just mark everything.
Is he as athletic though, running wise, as Buddy?
Probably not, but I feel like I think he can cover the ground well enough. I don't think he's got that kind of speed and explosiveness, but he's got that jump and leap at the ball kind of aspect and the sticky mitts as well.
Yeah, real sticky.
But I honestly think he could be the next player to kick 100 goals. Like he's our closest option to being that player.
Now,
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
So what would you? I mean, would you rather a Nick Dacos, maybe a couple of Brownlows, all Australians, or would you want the 100 goals under you?
I still don't know with modern football the way it is. He might get close, but 100 goals in a season,
it's tough.
It's tough. It's just it's not him. It's a modern game. I don't see it happening as much.
In 24 rounds, what's that? 5 goals a game.
Yeah.
Like a 4 and a bit if he plays.
I mean,
game.
you could technically kick it in finals as well.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't think of that. I thought we were talking about in the thing. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
They look like they'll be up there.
Could you imagine everybody running on a grand final?
Oh, man, insane. That would be crazy.
You wouldn't get people off.
No way.
That's
what I always wonder. What happens after? How do you get everyone off? How long does it stop for?
You just gotta wait.
I remember the Buddy
1,000.
1000.
Oh, it was against Geelong.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
It was like a 20 to 30 minute break.
I mean,
getting it ready.
there were people going out spreading their ashes on the field and everything like that for the Buddy 1000.
Insane.
Yeah. I don't know. I think key forward for that factor. It's so rare to be that dominant.
Yeah.
Whereas there's so much. I mean, Dacos is.
There's still prestige in the midfield and everything like that. Yeah. All right. Second one. All right. For the rest of the season, who would you rather be as a coach, Michael Voss or Justin Longmuir?
Oh, that's tough.
Good question.
That's real tough because even when we don't see it as much here in Victoria, but I know Longmuir cops heat in the West. There's two teams. WA is brutal, yes.
They're very passionate.
And they're in a position similar, their list. I always think Fremantle's list is elite.
It's incredible.
And because they've been beaten down for so many years compared to West Coast, now is their time, when West Coast is bad, to really come up. And they're still not getting it when West Coast has been horrible.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather be Vossi.
You rather be Vossy?
Yeah.
I think I'd go Longmuir. I mean, maybe it's the Victorian bias because I just don't know how intense it. I know you kind of hear about it, you never really know.
Yeah.
But I just think Carlton, if they lose, they don't make finals again.
Yeah.
With the list that they probably have, with the names that they've got, I think there's going to be a lot of heat on
it. Can I ask you this then? Who do you think out of Carlton and Freo are more likely to firstly make finals and then win a final? Or do you think both of them won't make it?
I don't know if Carlton will make it at the rate that they're going. I mean, there's still a couple of rounds to go, right? We've got 14 rounds or 13 rounds.
Yeah, we played, this is 10.
And if you just get one team to go on a bit of a run.
We saw a few runs last year as well.
I think, I don't know why, at the back of my head, I feel like Carlton have that run in him because they did it they've done it last year or the year before where they just hit form and they have a run. I just don't know with Fremantle. The game they play is just so boring and slow.
It looked very different against GWS. Using the corridor a lot more.
I didn't watch the games.
With Carlton as well, they've got one of the easiest draws this year. So they've already played West Coast and North, and I think they've got them again coming up. Yeah.
Which makes
back
a huge
to back,
difference.
which helps with momentum as well.
Yeah.
Think about form and stuff
Actually,
like that.
Don't go too fast on that because Essendon had West Coast and North, and we saw what happened yesterday. So I don't know about momentum when it comes to those two teams.
All right, moving on. All right, would you rather be a player playing for Gold Coast or Brisbane this year?
I think I have to go Brisbane purely because you said for this year.
Yeah, this year.
For this year, I think Brisbane are more of a chance to go deep into the finals.
Deep finals and Suns.
Gold Coast can, but I don't trust them yet.
I don't trust
Gold Coast.
You don't trust them?
There's something about them. I mean, they've never done it yet.
Well, they've never.
Every time they've been around, just haven't made that.
They've never finished higher than 12th in the
isn't,
season.
Isn't your most famous... one of the things you always say to me is like, you got to be in and around finals for a few years before you really go deep.
Yeah,
in finals.
that's
like
true.
That
Like you don't...
footy type thing where this might be the year they make it, but how deep will they go?
Yeah, exactly. And it's the whole, big stage, MCG, lights.
Exactly right.
I think that's the big question mark on them. We know they can get the job done at home and in Darwin. But yeah, we're going to find out at one point or another. I think they're playing finals.
Do you reckon they're locked in for finals now?
I think they're potentially locked in for a top 4.
Fixtures
a really,
time.
really easy run from what I see. And they don't look like the Gold Coast Suns of old. Like they're not dropping game. I mean, they did lose to Richmond, so probably shouldn't talk.
Yeah.
Richmond's surprising.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that's why I'd rather be Richmond than Essendon.
That's
a big call.
The thing with a quick one just on Richmond, I just think they're coached very well.
Yeah.
Adam Uze has been with the Hawks through their successful period, went to the D's when they were successful. Like he's been around it. He knows what he's doing. Yeah. And I really rate him as a coach, and I think, deserves a pat on the back for what he's done with the Tigers, to be honest.
Well, they almost beat North.
Today, missed a couple of chances you were saying late.
Yeah. Everybody, a lot of people thought they weren't going to win a game.
Exactly. Yeah.
All year, so
worried about what this year would be.
And they beat Carlton round 1 as well, which was a huge win.
Yeah, that's probably upset. I was thinking there haven't been too many huge upsets.
Yeah.
But that was probably as big as it gets.
I think so. Because what was happening before that game and the build up, where Carlton were going to be, where Richmond were going to be, it was insane. What Richmond Orange, it got so many clicks because of that.
All right, number 4. If you had to pick one career, who would you rather be? Dustin Martin or Gary Ablett Jr.?
I'll go first because I already know he's going to be biased. But I think I have to agree. I think I'd go Gary Ablett Jr.
Go Gary Ablett Jr.?
Yeah. Because I
think it's closer than the thing is. It's two slightly different questions almost. Right?
Yeah.
You're thinking are we talking about an overall career or as in the ability to do it for a long time consistently?
It's more like which resume would you rather finish your career
almost,
with?
Right? Yeah. 3 Norm Smiths. Is that ever? I don't think that's been done.
Nah, first person. 3 Norm Smiths.
I mean, I'm biased. I'm going to go Gaz, but that's a pretty good resume.
That's as close as it gets, I think.
2017 season.
That's the thing. The one season, if you told me one season, if you could pick one season to dominate that, you'd say Martin. But I think it's just a longevity over the years for Gary Ablett.
I think Gaz is the best midfielder.
And I think to go up to the Gold Coast with a poor team and play like he did, it speaks volumes. So who knows what he would have done if he stayed at Geelong?
Yeah,
probably a lot of you can't say that.
But a lot of prime years playing for Gold Coast, I reckon.
Yeah, and he was still pretty good. I think it was 2018 that he came back. He was playing a bit of a high half forward role and still kicked 40 goals. I thought he was going to get All Australian. And he was still 33, 34. So
it was crazy.
He was
Kind of wish he kind of just went on those 2 more years, waited for that last finish off on that last flag.
He lost to Richmond
because of Dusty.
Because of Dusty. All right, last one, boys, to wrap it up. If you were a new player drafted into the league, who would you rather be? A draftee for Essendon or a draftee for Carlton?
It's tricky because I feel like Carlton are also in their window now. Yeah. So it's
but think of it as a draftee coming in and wanting, to win premierships and be a star, and where would you, find that success? Exactly.
Yeah. You go.
I think I'd have to say Carlton at the moment.
I don't know, but I reckon Carlton are in their window, and I don't know if they're going to win a grand final in the next few years.
Yeah.
Whereas with Essendon, obviously not in their window, but maybe in 7 years they might be. Whereas Carlton could be falling out of theirs because of all the top end talent they're paying for now.
Yeah.
I just think there's been such a long period for Essendon not making finals.
Sorry, do you want to say winning a final or winning the grand final?
I mean, you're a draftee coming into the side. You don't know what your career is going to hold, but you want to come to a successful side.
Carlton will win a final before Essendon do.
Yeah, but will they win a grand final?
I don't know. I don't think they will.
Yeah, okay.
You think Essendon will win one before Carlton?
No. Essendon have more of a chance, I think, to win a grand final based on potential. They're nowhere now. Okay. Carlton, I think. Think at their spot now, they've got to be really contending more than they are.
So you think Carlton almost need to go back all the way down the ladder to go back up?
Yeah, agree.
Whereas you think Essendon...
They're just at the bottom.
Okay. Yeah. They're closer to a rebuild than Carlton are.
Exactly right. Yeah.
It's been a long rebuild.
25-year rebuild.
All right, boys. All right, we're going to move on. We got some free agent trade room. More or less, I'm going to give you a list of names, and you guys are going to tell me where they're going to be next year or don't have to specifically tell me what team they're going to be in, but are they staying or are they going?
Yep.
So a lot of names have been thrown up in the media throughout the year. There'll probably be a lot more before the end of the year. But let's start with Let's start with two here: Luke Jackson and Cozzy Pickett. Thoughts?
Okay, can I phrase the question? If there was a direct trade to be made between the two teams,
Yep.
who's more valuable, Jackson or Pickett?
Oh.
And is a 1-to-1 trade even?
I think it depends on the team in a sense.
Yeah.
Because like Luke Jackson, I think is actually, if he played solo ruck, I reckon he'd be one of the best rucks.
If I'm
in the
Melbourne,
competition.
I reckon he's Gorn's successor.
Yeah.
He would be the perfect just to come slot in. I don't know, Pickett, if you're Freo though, like you've got Shy Bolton there as well. Do you need I know Pickett is good, but do you need him as much?
I think they do. I think their forward line still has a lot of issues.
Yeah.
And I think just being able to play Bolton or Pickett as one of those and rotate him through the midfield.
Jeez, it'd be bloody elite watching that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you got Tracy, who looks phenomenal.
I think Tracy is one of the best forwards.
A miss has been a bit off this year, but you know he's going to have off seasons.
Yeah.
But
It's pretty good.
I like the trade for trade. I
As a
think
direct swap.
a direct swap. You know, there hasn't been a direct swap of players in the league for about 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Okay,
Yeah.
never would happen.
That's an interesting stat.
Yeah.
That is real interesting.
Which is crazy. It's always draft picks and
Yeah, right.
This
There's
and that.
something attached to it.
Yeah.
Like a 5th rounder or a 4th rounder.
but 1-for-1 I don't think it's happened. But I think that's a great 1-for-1 for both clubs, to be honest.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, if I'm Freo, I'd rather hold on to Jackson and get rid of Darcy.
That's what I was thinking. Like, what is happening to Darcy? Like, there's injury every time. Like, they just need a
Big
clean
contract
line.
as well.
Yeah.
He's got, another 5 years
Yeah,
on
it's
big
huge.
money.
Big money. And Geelong were interested. I mean,
Geelong were interested. Geelong could have drafted him as well. But
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. That's what makes me a bit cautious about why they would do the trade. Because, like, it's not like they've got Darcy waiting in the wings. That is just, you can rely on week in, week out. I feel like Jackson still had injuries, but he's been more reliable.
Yeah.
At least with his body.
I don't think they have, like, obviously Cozzy's under contract as well. And Melbourne, I think Brad Green came out and said something like, I want 3 first rounders. If
Yeah. Something
you want,
crazy.
and I don't think they can pay it up. So that's kind of like, you know, what do you,
Where it's
you
at,
know,
yeah.
what's worth more,
Yeah.
I guess. But that's an interesting one. I'm honestly still on the fence. I think Cozzy definitely wants to go to Freo,
Yeah.
but I don't think Freo can pay that package unless unless Jackson's involved.
Yeah.
Would you do the trade if you're Melbourne, and then would you do the trade if you're Freo?
I would do the trade if I was Melbourne. I wouldn't do it if I was Freo.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, Matt Rowell. I might throw this one to Wayne because I think Geelong was the first of the Victorian clubs
Cleary came out there.
interested in Rowell.
I think it'd be great for our midfield.
Yeah.
Because our midfield's just, we really are lacking in the clearance department. Like, there's just some weird patches where we seem to do okay, but then we seem to get beaten as well. I think it'd be great for us. I don't think he's coming to us, just from the murmurings. I have no sources whatsoever. But just from the murmurings, it doesn't sound like it. But I mean, didn't he buy a house in Kew or something?
Yeah.
And, I mean,
It's an interesting one because apparently all the Victorian clubs, the longer this kind of goes on, and he hasn't re-signed, they're getting more eager and thinking he's more gettable.
Yeah.
Whereas I think Matt Rowell's side has come out and basically just said that he's just focusing on his footy because they're obviously doing well this
They're
year.
in a window, I reckon.
He'll sort out at the end of the year, but I think
Yeah.
reports are he's possibly leaning to the Suns. Saying
Well, that's what they said, but like you'd wonder why that's not being signed.
Yeah, that's true as well.
His
Yeah,
best mate's Noah Anderson.
exactly.
It looks
Drafted
like they're coming
together.
up pretty good.
Yeah.
So it's a weird situation as to why he hasn't signed.
Yeah.
I think all things would say that right now is probably a good time to sign on.
Yeah.
I agree.
But yeah, I don't know. I think he might go if he hasn't signed on now, but
Yeah.
it's hard to say.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. And you look something like like the Dan Rioli trade, where he was worth pick 6. If he's worth pick 6, what's Matt
Rowell?
Rowell worth on the open market?
Yeah. Former number 1 draft pick.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's smash through these. Zach Butters, your club, another one that's had some sneaky chats to him on the side through the rumour mill.
Yep.
Do you think he's gettable at the end? Like he's still under
Sounds
contract.
like it.
He's still under contract for another year, I believe.
Yeah.
But if he requests a trade, I mean,
It sounds like there's interest.
Yeah.
I think everyone would be interested.
Yeah,
I think he's
100%.
going,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, I would love for Butters to be actually. I mean, I'd like a lot of players actually. Butters would definitely be up there.
look, he's one I hope the Hawks just throw everything at.
Do you,
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that that's an area you really need to build? Like you've got a couple of good names in, like Warpool isn't signing on, but like it's like
You know what?
he's
The
expendable.
thing is, like, I think the Hawks are playing more of a system brand football, where it's like if you do lose a star like we lost Will Day,
Yeah.
the team can still go on because there's other pieces that can come in and play the role. Someone like Zach Butter's just a no-grader, you know what I mean? Like he can win you a game off his own boot kind of thing. I think that's the one difference we're kind of missing at the Hawks, like genuine stars that you know, pull up your 30 every week kind of thing.
Yeah, you got a lot of good players, but not that like, A grader.
I don't want to bring back the Supercoach, but there's no like premium mid premium that you just lock in from Hawthorn. And the thing is, it's cause, as you said, they're so even. Like week to week, you can't bank on one guy just scoring because everyone else, someone will step up.
Yeah.
Like so, you're right. It's just a system that I don't know. I don't know if you like. Who was a similar player that you have now? Two butters, like a Warple in and under, get it out.
Maybe more closer to a Will Day, but he's just different. He's just real. Butters is just a real hard in and under, but he's a smaller frame as well. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's just got that agile, that quick, and kick goals. Like he's the whole package really. I think he was playing for a Victorian club. He'd be a lot more highly touted. Yeah, I think you're right. All right, I'm gonna go Braden Maynard.
I think he'll stay, Colin.
He'll stay.
I think he's just that club just loves him.
Yeah,
like, and everyone else hates him.
And he's a vice captain as well.
That's right.
I think he wants to stay. I think he's got a good offer from North Melbourne.
Yeah,
and I think his brother might be like a trainer there or something like that as well. So there's that influence.
For North Melbourne, like, do they need?
Well, who's their main defenders? Like they
rotate through a few. I mean, he brings that leadership. I think Braden Maynard would be great on any side just because he's that enforcer in the back line as well. It's sort of like you don't bully. You know, his team's back. You don't bully the Collingwood backline. You don't bully Nick Dacos because you know you're going to cop it. And that aspect,
you love that play as a supporter. I just can't stand.
Everybody else hates you, but your team loves you. James Warple, linked to your mob. It's always Geelong.
I reckon you have to feel this one pretty.
Look, he was walking the boundary line like a week or two ago, and the fan kind of went, "Are you going to Geelong?" And he said, "No way."
I said, "No way."
Yeah, he said, "No way." So I don't know how much to read into that. He's a Geelong Falcons boy.
Yeah.
I think the Hawks have started going onto a contract now for him, but we'll see. I mean, he's been there for a while.
How valuable is he to Hawthorn? Like, what do you think?
I think he's our in and under. He's like our libber basically. Yeah. So he's the guy who doesn't get any reward or as much as like your Newcombs and your Day and all that kind of stuff. But he's phenomenal in what he does. Yeah, and like you can't really match what he brings to the side, I guess, in the midfield. It's just different mixes and stuff like that.
Do you think he goes?
I think the only way he's out of contract, so I don't really have a choice. No, I want to say he stays. Okay. I'm honestly on the fence, but the only way I would say the Hawks would easily let him go is if we can land like a Zach Butters or a Matt Rowell or something. Yep. If we get that, then it makes sense to let him go. You have to give something up to get something in return. But if not, I want to see a big contract in front of him, lock him up for the next couple of years.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Where do you think he would go if he goes?
Probably Geelong, I'd say. Yeah. Geelong Falcons boy just makes sense.
Makes sense.
You know what I mean? Or whoever's offering more money at the end of the day. But he'll stay in Victoria, I'm sure. All right, wrap it up. Let's go Petrarca and Oliver.
I think Oliver, but the thing is, they'll have to pay out his contract as well if he leaves, because how long has he got left? That's a hard part. I think Oliver, if he was out of contract, I think he's gone.
Yeah.
Because I think he's not happy with his role. I don't know. I don't know what's happened with Oliver. I thought this year he was coming back fit and firing, but it's
pre-season talk.
Pre-season talk, like he's the fittest he's ever been. Wrap your arms around him. We all love him, and he just hasn't hit the same heights.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Something's not right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just think there's every opportunity they can both request a trade.
Yeah.
But I don't think any team really has, the amount to pay for them, like in terms of picks and all that kind of stuff. So it's
too messy.
Yeah. And the contracts, they're signed for long term. So Melbourne's huge. They get to make the final call, but obviously the players get to choose where they want to go. So you're kind of at a stalemate, aren't you?
I reckon if Melbourne were doing better this year, we wouldn't discuss it as much.
Yeah.
Even though like even if Oliver wasn't having a good year, but Melbourne were doing better.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think it mattered as much.
Yeah. It's more of a success based thing, you think, more than anything.
Well, you saw Petrarca was crying at the end of the Geelong game. So obviously he just really wants success again.
Yeah.
It's not happening. So
who can take Petrarca? And can you afford to lose Petrarca as a Melbourne?
I don't think you can as Melbourne. No.
Yeah. Like
he's having a great year.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit under the radar just because they're not winning.
Yeah.
But his numbers look great.
Last couple of weeks, We're basing this all off Supercoach. That's all we're saying. We know nothing else. We just know his average has gone up. Yeah.
His effort's been phenomenal. Like he's always putting his hand up. He's trying. I don't think he's, having the best season of his career. He's obviously had some phenomenal.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, he might be potentially just past that, but he's good. He's still very good.
Very good, yeah.
Yeah. All right, boys. Before we wrap it up, let's talk about the matchups next week because I think all three of our mobs are in some big games, and we got Geelong versus the Doggies. Bailey Smith. What's going to happen here?
That is
You know, the worst part is it's down in Geelong. Yeah. You want it to be like at Marvel or something. Because how many fines would he get for flipping off the Bulldogs fans? Do you think?
Yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. I'm kind of eagly awaiting this game.
Yeah.
Was it the Dogs who beat you last year down at Geelong on a wet day? I remember that. Yeah.
Doggies are annoying, like one of those annoying, like GWS, Carlton. I'm just listing teams. Basically, but yeah, Doggies seem to. It's again teams that have really good midfields. I feel like expose us.
Yeah.
I think theirs is one of the informed mids, and their depth is insane in that midfield.
And you almost think it's that extra motivator that you want to get one on Bailey Smith as well.
It seems to be right now.
Yeah. And they're coming off some good form, the Doggies.
He's lost danger up forward now as well.
Yeah. I would like to see what Liver does, like first up.
That's just going to be one to watch. You know what I mean?
That game. Yeah, spot on.
But yeah, that'll be a big game.
As a Geelong supporter, what do you think of Bailey Smith's comments? Because he's taken a couple of pot shots at the Doggies.
It's sort of like when I was asking you last year. Do you like when Guinea and Watson before games go at other teams and say things like? Does it put you
before
off?
Game? I mean, it was pretty bad with Guinea, I guess, before Port Adelaide game.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like that stuff,
like,
social media.
Yeah,
these are more like interviews, though. You know, they've kind of
catching him off. Well, maybe.
But would you rather
maybe
not say it or say it as a Geelong supporter?
There's a bit of theatre which kind of promotes. The game
I love the
theatre,
but
I'm a bit more reserved, so I like to keep it on field and that will be. Yeah. But I think the theatres. I mean, we're talking about it now, right? And so there's a bit of anticipation, so I think there's a bit in it, and you kind of almost think, oh, he's saying things that you probably wouldn't want him to, but it's also like bringing up this, so you kind of say, oh,
you don't feel like Geelong will ever get rattled easily as well as a side. You know what I mean? Like someone's comments in the media, they're so professional.
Well,
Brad Scott
doesn't listen to the media. He doesn't know about an injury list that he's been releasing every Tuesday for the last.
Chris Scott.
Chris Scott. Sorry, no injury lists. What? That was bizarre.
You know what? You guys got away for a year putting down short-term, long-term, medium-term.
TBC, indefinite.
And I know specifically for you Supercoach guys, it's always like, so is he back in 3 weeks, 2 weeks?
It's a shocker.
You'd have no idea. And then they'd just be back.
Yeah. But it's taken the AFL a year to be like, you can't keep doing this.
It's weird as well. Must have some say.
But you probably wouldn't care, like with the late ins and stuff like that. It's all kind of just whatever. I feel like it's been blown out. Like a lot of people just want to point the finger a little bit.
Oh yeah, there's always a bit of sensational.
Yeah.
But I think it is a bit annoying.
Yeah.
Like, if you got a team, again, maybe there's a bit of super. But as a team, you can't prepare for them, and I just like, is there a need to do mind? Is it a mind game thing, or is it genuinely like he's just not getting up at the 11th hour?
Yeah.
And why is that so common?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
What I've always wondered is with teams, like when the teams come out and you've put a team out and they've put a team out, and then you see like, oh, they're playing that guy. Maybe we should have played this guy instead. I'm surprised we don't see more changes like that. Are you allowed to just go like, oh, they're playing,
Apparently you are.
Yeah. Apparently they've got Dangerfield at full forward this week. We didn't think he was going to be in.
So we'll swap
let me bring in, this guy instead to defend him something.
Well, they do that though, don't they? Like I'm pretty sure.
Not really. I feel like Geelong do the late out because it has to be a change after Thursday 6:25, right? Yeah. So if everyone releases at the same time, most games don't have any changes up until the ball is matched.
Yeah.
Geelong, like I remember a couple of times, like a rainy game, and we've changed our ruck strategy to get
this year alone, you changed something when you were playing Gorn. Someone came in against Gorn. I can't remember. Stanley came against Gorn when he wasn't playing before.
Yeah,
and I reckon he was ready to come in before that.
I think DeConing was taking the ruck.
Wasn't
doing that well.
Yeah, ruck situation is pretty interesting. You had Shannon Neal rucking.
Mark Blitzarb, the saviour.
I love Mark Blitzarb.
Yeah, he's good.
I think he's great. And he's just. I wish he could play for another 5 years.
he probably could, to be honest with you.
He's doing pretty well. But yeah, I don't know. The late changes, I'm a bit. Not a huge fan on, but
fair enough. Moving on, we got Essendon versus Richmond. How are you feeling going into that?
If we had a loss to the Dogs by 30, I'd be a bit more buoyant. Now I'm going to this Richmond game, and it's like it shouldn't be, but I'm saying it's a 50-50.
Yeah.
Especially because Richmond, like against North, have almost won.
Yeah.
They've been competitive.
Yeah.
Essendon only just beat North. I think, and Dreamtime at the G always seems to be close.
Yeah.
And the number of years where they would just like smash us as well. Like this is our chance when Richmond should be bad.
Yeah.
I should be going in thinking, oh, yeah, I want to go to this game because Essendon is going to win, and I still can't do that. It's infuriating.
Richmond are slowly building with this young group a confidence on the MCG as well.
Exactly. There's some excitement around them. Like they're going towards something. Like there's something there. I don't know with Essendon. Like I still think if I have to tip, I'll tip Essendon. I don't normally tip Essendon, but it's nowhere near as confident as I want to be going in against Richmond.
Wayne, who are you tipping if you had a tip? Yeah.
I think I'm just purely on this demographic. I'm going Essendon, but I think I'm leaning towards your comments a bit about like the inconsistency, and like, Tigers been surprisingly good. So it might be closer than we think.
They could definitely surprise you. And to wrap it up, my boys face the Lions at the MCG.
That's a good game to watch too.
Yeah,
like good kicks, good long kicks.
Who are you guys tipping for this one?
Is it at the Gabba or is it?
No, it's at the G.
At the G, I'm going to go Brisbane. I think I'll be in the minority saying Brisbane, but I just think Brisbane at the G last year they beat Geelong. I don't think they're as bad at the G as they were.
Yeah.
I think they've definitely gone better at the G, and I don't know. I think Brisbane.
I'm going to go Hawks.
Hawks, yeah.
Yeah, I'm also there's a bit of personal bias because I want the Hawks to beat Brisbane so we can get up.
The draw doesn't help. You know, the draw with North Melbourne, Brisbane, the points.
Yeah, that's a crazy. That was another crazy result.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go Hawks.
What about you?
I'm back in the Hawks. Yeah.
Back in the Hawks.
We've got a very good record against the Lions.
Yeah.
And we just match up really well. We're a bit of a bogey team for them.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think we'll get up, and we need to get one of these in the next couple of weeks with all these top sides we're facing.
Yeah.
But I think we'll start off there, and then hopefully have some momentum going into the Pies game. Yeah.
That'll be a great game.
Yeah. That'll be a cracker. Well, thank you, boys, again for coming on, giving us knowledge on your teams. I really appreciate it.
Just after the Essendon game. The day after. I reckon you planned. You've looked at the fixture. You've looked at the fixture and planned.
I was so ready to pump you up, and then I saw the game last night, and I was like, here we go. Negative Travis is coming in.
Spot on. I would have been like I had to be positive before because we won every game we had to win. Yeah. Even if we lost by 30, I'd be positive.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. No, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah. Look, hopefully, it goes better for your mob. Hopefully, it goes better, but not better than the Hawks for your mob.
We can all be winners on the happy days.
Big thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you next time. Thank you.